Mr. Norby.
I strongly support this bill and urge all those that support fairness, free enterprise, and fiscal responsibility to join me. This is not really a debate about whether redevelopment agencies have been successful. I have my views, and I think they've been backed up by all credible studies. But even those that believe that redevelopment is an engine for economic growth, even those that have confidence in the government's ability to pick and choose economic winners and losers, have to agree that redevelopment was never intended to be a permanent drain on public resources. Redevelopment law was created in the early 1950s after 15 years of neglect of our cities, 10 years during the Great Depression, 5 years during World War II. It was intended to be a temporary solution to a temporary problem of urban blight. But by the 1980s, these agencies had become ubiquitous and had become a typical feature of government, in many counties taking more in property tax increment than county governments or city governments themselves. It was never intended to be like this. If redevelopment has worked, if it has succeeded, the intention all along was to return this tax increment, which had been generated by redevelopment activity, to the schools and the counties and the city general funds, not as a permanent plaything for private developers. And if it hasn't worked, then we can't afford another 50 years of this money drain to wait for it to succeed. Now, some have criticized 26, 27 for not being perfect. I support 26, I don't support 27. They're not co-joined. They are two separate votes, and I will be voting on them separately. But some have said, well, there's no eminent domain reform in here. Well, there isn't in 27. 26, there definitely is. 26 abolishes redevelopment agencies. 27 brings them back in a modified form. But 27 does not allow the tax increment to continue to be taken. And therefore, eminent domain is defunded. So while there isn't the reform of ending eminent domain abuse, if the money isn't there, then you can't take people's property and then give it to some private developer because the money isn't there to subsidize it. Under Prop 22, we don't have the ability to even touch or reform or touch 1 penny of redevelopment tax increment. Prop 22 was sold as a way to save police, fire. It was sold as a way to save all these other things. Never in any of the Prop 22 information was there anything about saving redevelopment agencies or protecting eminent domain. But those were the main supporters behind it. It passed, fine. It protects all the agency money, but it doesn't protect the state from doing away with them. If it did, you wouldn't have practically half the lobbyists in town in a panic trying to save this money flow for these special interests. Clearly the legislature can do this. And the problem with it is that if we don't do this, the tax increment continues to grow and grow. Now it's 10%. Another 20 years, it's going to be 20%. In some counties, it's over a third of all property taxes are going only to redevelopment agencies. There are some redevelopment areas, Bunker Hill, Los Angeles, where over 90% of all the property tax revenue is going only to the agencies, not to the schools, not to the counties. It's going to the agencies. Santa Clara County, more property taxes go for the San Jose Redevelopment Agency than the entire county general fund. This is not sustainable. And under Prop 22, this diversion will not simply be guaranteed, it will continue to grow until it will take virtually all of the property taxes. Prop 26 is essential to set this back and begin the process of reform. Now, if you don't like Prop 27, vote against it. The fact is, Prop 27 is better. Prop 27, what is this? AB 27 is better than what we have now. Because AB 27 puts controls on this tax increment drain. It may not enact all the reforms you want, but it's as good as you're going to get. And if you vote against both of these, if you vote against 26, you're voting to keep redevelopment the way it is now indefinitely, and you may never get another chance to touch it. I urge an aye vote.
Seeing no